Hi everyone. Today's lesson is on verbs, the continuous tense. You will learn the present continuous tense, the past continuous tense, and the future continuous tense. You will learn the structure of each of these. There will be a lot of examples to help you understand each one of them better, and a short test at the end of the lesson. So, what is the continuous tense? Continuous tense shows an ongoing action that is taking place or is in progress at a certain time. Right? Let's begin. What you will learn from this lesson. There's an introduction, the structure of the present continuous tense, the present continuous tense, meaning and examples, structure of the past continuous tense, the past continuous tense, meaning and examples, sorry, structure of the future continuous tense, the future continuous tense with meaning and examples, and then a test. To form the continuous tense, we use the verb and add the ing form of the verb to it. What does this mean? If I'm talking about, now you should know what a verb is. Verbs are words that show action. So I could be saying something like drink, eat, walk, run, dance, talk. These are all verbs. Now, if I want to use the continuous form of the verb, I have to use the verb and add ing to it. For example, if I want to say sing, it will become singing. S-I-N-G, I-N-G. If I'm talking about walk, it will become walking. Run, running. Dance, dancing. So you have to add ing to the verb to make it the continuous tense. There are three parts to it. The present continuous tense, when an action is happening in the present, now. The past continuous tense, when an action was happening in the past. It happened maybe a minute ago or maybe 5 years ago, but if it is in the past, then it is the past continuous tense that we need to use. The future continuous tense, when an action will be happening in the future. So it has not happened, it is not happening, but it will happen. It may happen after a second after this, or it might happen a year later, or it might happen maybe 10 years later. But if it is in the future, then you have to use the future continuous tense. The structure of the present continuous tense is like this. You use the subject first, and I hope you all know what is the subject of a sentence and what is the predicate. For example, if I have a sentence like this, the dog ate a bone. So the dog is the subject and ate a bone becomes the predicate. I'll give you another example. If I say Mary is a girl, so Mary is the subject and is a girl is the predicate. So first you start with the subject of the sentence. Then you add am, is, or are, depending on whether the subject is singular or plural. For example, if I say I and I is the subject, then you have to follow that with am. You cannot say I is or I are. I am. If you're talking about a girl, say Mary. Mary is, because it's only one girl. But if I'm talking about two girls like Mary and Jane are, or the girls are, they are. So it depends on the subject. According to the subject, you either use am, is, or are. After that, you add the verb. And don't forget to add ing to the verb. And then the rest of the sentence, which may consist of an object or anything else, prepositions, anything in the sentence, the rest of it. I hope that's clear. So, if an action is happening now, then it is the present continuous tense. You need to use the present continuous tense. For example, she is eating her lunch now. It is raining at the moment. My father is sleeping now. So if you can see in the first sentence, the verb is eat, but I want to add ing to make it the continuous tense. And how do I know it's present continuous tense? That's because I have added is there. So if you look below the slide here, you see subject, which is she, am, is, or are. So I've chosen is, which matches the subject, the present participle, that is the verb, and ing. So eat and ing. And the rest of the sentence, which is her lunch now. Look at the next one. It is raining at the moment. So you have the subject, which is it. Then look down here. Choose am, is, or are. So is, which matches the subject, has to be there. After that, you add present participle verb plus ing. So rain, ing. And then the rest of the sentence, so at the moment. Look at the third one. My father is the subject. So my father then is from here, and then verb plus ing, so sleep, ing. And the rest of the sentence, which is just one word, now. If you look at all these sentences, it is very clear that the action is happening in the present. How? Because you will get clues from the sentence itself. For example, she is eating her lunch now. So now means now. It is happening in the present. So you can't use any other tense. Even if the question does not tell you to use the present continuous tense, you should know on your own that it is the present continuous tense that needs to be used in the sentence by getting clues from the sentence like this: now or at the moment. At the moment means right now. Now again. Okay? So that's how you know what tense needs to be used. Structure of the past continuous tense. Here you will use the subject, and instead of is, am, or are, you have to use was or were, because that shows, this is important, this shows that the action happened in the past. It is not happening now, or it will not happen in the future. This is very important. Apart from this, you go about the rest of it in the same way. You add the verb and ing and the rest of the sentence. It's this that you have to be careful of. Here are some examples. When an action was happening in the past, it is the past continuous tense. So here's examples for you. He was swimming when the bell rang. So if you look here, subject, he. Was or were. Now because the subject is singular, he, so we have to use was. If it was maybe two people, that David and Ravi, then you can say David and Ravi were swimming. So it depends on the subject. Since it's he, it will be was, not were. And then you use a present participle, that's the verb and ing. So swim, ing. Now in some words like this, you will have to double the last letter before adding ing. All right? When the bell rang, so you're adding the rest of the sentence. Look at the second one, I. So can you say I were or I was? It has to be I was. These are the only two options you have for the past continuous tense. It has to be either was or were. So was, and then the verb is watch, and add ing. I was watching, and the rest of the sentence. The football match when it started raining. Then my brother is the next subject. Was or were, again it's singular, just one, so was. And then you use the verb and ing. So do is the verb and ing with it. And the rest of the sentence, which is his homework when our guests arrived. Now again, if you look at all three sentences, you will see that there are clues here to show you that this is happening in the past. The action is happening in the past. And hence, there is no way you can use the present continuous tense or the future continuous tense. It has to be the past continuous tense. I'll show you the clues. Look at the first sentence. He was swimming when the bell rang. Rang is the past tense of the verb ring. So you know, oh, the bell rang, so it already rang. It happened in the past. Like I said earlier, could be 1 second before, or it could be 10 years before. Okay. I was watching the football match when it started raining. So it started raining at that time. Maybe it's still raining now. But that's your clue. That shows you it happened in the past. My brother was doing his homework when our guests arrived. So what you're saying is he was doing his homework at that time and the guests came. Okay? So you can't say if your guests had arrived now, your sentence would have said when our guests came in, just came in. But the way the sentence is worded shows you at once that it happened in the past. I hope that's clear too. And here's the structure of the future continuous tense. Again, the subject, the helping verb, which is will plus be, then the verb and ing, and the rest of the sentence. Now, in this case, there's one more thing you have to watch out for, will be. All right, just because it is the future continuous tense. I'll give you examples. The future continuous tense shows an action that will be happening in the future. Like I said, maybe, a minute later, or it could be years later or weeks later, but in the future. Examples, they will be playing a football match again tomorrow. So here you have the subject, you have will be. See, will be in all three sentences. Will be, will be, will be. And then the verb, the verb, the verb. And ing, ing, ing. So the continuous tense is pretty simple actually. You just have to take the verb which is given in brackets. It will be given in brackets at the end of the sentence. So you take the verb, you add it to your sentence, you add ing, and then read the sentence carefully to see whether the action is happening in the present, the past, or in the future. According to that, you will know what to write before. Whether you should write is, am, are, was, were, or will be, sorry. Okay? So they will be playing a football match again tomorrow. Now, this is your clue. Tomorrow. Tomorrow cannot be in the present or in the past. It has to be in the future. I will be meeting some of my friends after school tomorrow. Tomorrow, again, in the future. I could have said a week later or next month. That's all in the future. Or 2 hours from now. That's also in the future. He will be watching the latest movie tonight. Now, night has not yet come. Tonight. Okay? So that's why it's in the future. I hope this is clear too. Now it's time for a short test. Remember to read the sentence carefully to understand whether it is talking about the present, the past, or the future. And read very carefully so that you get the clues from the sentence. Are you ready? Maybe you could keep a pen and a paper beside you so that you could write your answers down. Or let's go through it orally, that's fine too. I dash my friends tomorrow, and the verb is meet. Now look for the clues. I'm helping you with this test. Look for the clues in the sentence, and you will definitely know whether this action has already happened, or it is happening now, or it will happen later. Then, according to that, you have to fill in the blanks with either the present continuous tense or the past continuous tense or the future continuous tense. And remember how you have to do it. If it is the present continuous tense, then is, am, or are, according to the subject, add the verb and add ing. If it is the past continuous tense, then was or were with the verb and ing. And if it is the future continuous tense, then will be verb and ing. So what's your answer? It's the first one, so I'm helping you. I will not help this much with the next sentences. Check your answer. will be meeting. And why is it will be meeting? Because you can see the word tomorrow, and tomorrow means the future. So it has to be the future continuous tense. Will be the word which is there in brackets and ing. Let's try the next one. He dashed to his friends when the teacher called him to class. The verb is talk. Let's see if you got it right. He was talking to his friends when the teacher called him to class, because the sentence indicates that this action happened in the past. All right, next. They dash some hot cocoa in the canteen. The verb is drink. What's your answer? They are drinking. Now it's are because it's they. Okay? They are drinking some hot cocoa in the canteen. Try this. Billy and Joe dashed the cricket match yesterday, and the verb is watch. So, did you find your clue? And the answer is were watching. Why? Were, first of all, because there are two people, Billy and Joe. And were watching tells you that it is the past continuous tense. Why? Because you find the word yesterday in the sentence. That clearly indicates that it happened in the past. Then you add watch and ing. Try this. Your answer? I am going to play outside. I dash a cake later. The word is later, so what should you do? Will be baking. I will be baking a cake later. Of course, sometimes in a sentence, the action, it's not very clear whether the action has happened in the present or in the past or will happen in the future. You might have come across some sentences like that in the test that I showed you just now. So you can write either answer in that case, and both will be marked correct. All right. What about this? They dash their bikes across the river now. Ride is the verb. Now, in these kind of sentences, it's very clear what the verb has to be, whether it is the present, past, or continuous, or the future continuous tense. But sometimes it is not very clear. And in the case where it is not very clear, you can use either tense. But it has to be the continuous tense for you to get your marks. Here, it is very clear. So there can only be one answer, like this. They are riding their bikes across the river now. Are has to be there because they is here. And of course, are riding because it's happening now. So present continuous tense. What about this one? This is also very clear. It's clear as to when the action is happening, had happened, or will happen. And your answer should be, he was reading a book when the lights went off. Hope this lesson was helpful. And if you need any more practice, I'd be glad to oblige. Until we meet again, cheerio.